Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play 9 Hours, 9 Persons, 9 Doors. Last time we completed the story checks and, made it through the captain's quarters again. So, Clover now has reason to believe that her brother is still alive. So she's not going to go on a warpath of terror, I don't think. And, someone named Alice might be aboard this ship. She might be a mummy that's now reanimated. It's a long story. Anyway, they stepped out of the captain's quarters and into another hallway. The hallway stretched out in front of Junpei for a bit, before turning left like a great backward L. Junpei rounded the corner and took off down the straightaway. He ran. And ran. And ran. So far away. At the end of the hallway was a door. He made straight for it. He was nearly halfway to it when he noticed a piece of paper in the middle of the floor. What was a piece of paper doing in the middle of the hallway? Junpei skidded to a halt. He dropped down to his hands and knees and quickly tore the paper off the floor. Now that he had a chance to examine it more closely, it was clear that it was a map. More specifically, a map of the ship's interior for the A deck. What's wrong? Ace, slightly slower by virtue of his advanced age, had finally caught up to Junpei. Junpei said nothing, simply showed Ace what he found. He looked at it long enough to determine what it was and nodded. I see. With that, he began running again, past Junpei. Junpei shoved the map into his pocket and got up to follow Ace. But something stopped him. Hey, where's Clover? He turned around. Clover was nowhere to be seen. Damn it, what the hell is she up to? Junpei muttered angrily under his breath and took off back the way he'd come. As he stomped around the corner, he saw her. She was standing in front of the door to the captain's quarters, her hand on the doorknob. As Junpei watched, she closed it gently and quietly. What the hell are you doing? Nothing. What do you mean, nothing? Clover had unconsciously put her hands over the pockets of her jacket, as if trying to hide something. What the hell is that? What? You got something in your pocket. What is it? Oh, this? This is... a note. A note? Yeah. I found it in the pocket of the guy with the captain's clothes. It says something about the darkness of the sinister hand or something. What the hell? Let me see it. But Junpei wasn't going to get to see it. From the other end of the hall, he heard Ace's voice. Hey, Junpei! Clover! What are you two doing? Hurry up! The number, too, instead of okay. Clover shrugged. I'll show it to you later, alright? Come on, we gotta hurry. Before Junpei could protest, she was gone. Around the corner and off down the long stem of the L. A note? A note. Junpei was curious, but there was something else that bothered him. Her pocket had been bulging far more than it would from just a note. Junpei did his best to convince himself that it would make sense later, and ran off after Clover. Junpei pushed through the door and found himself in a large room with a large set of stairs. It was just what he'd expected to see after reading the map. His "I see" after reading the map himself meant that Ace had probably realized the same thing. Junpei looked around, but Ace was nowhere to be seen. He put his hand on the handrail and leaned over to look down. There he was. And not just Ace, Santa, June, Seven, and Lotus as well. Junpei and Clover glanced at each other and hurried down the stairs. They reached B deck at the same time. Jumpy! Clover! June's face was excited. Something had happened, that much Junpei could tell by simply looking at her. What's up? Given their situation, he was not inclined to be excited about sudden developments. June, however, couldn't contain herself. We found it! Found what? We found it! What did you find? The last door. We found door 9. What?
Come on, just follow us. We'll explain on the way.
Okay, let's go. 7 turned and jogged off down the stairs. The rest followed. We finally made it. The relief and excitement in her voice echoed what each one of them felt. Yeah, it's finally time. Junpei wasn't quite ready to believe they'd really done it. At least not just yet. Still, if everyone said that it was door 9, then it probably was. He could feel his heart racing. A mixture of anticipation and fear ran through his veins, and he could feel his legs shaking. He was doing his best to maintain a sense of healthy skepticism, but he couldn't deny that the prospect of escape was an exciting one. But there was one more thing he couldn't get off his mind. The numbered door could only accommodate between 3 and 5 people. There were 7 of them on their way to door 9. That meant that even in the best case scenario, there'd be 2 of them who would have to stay behind. 2 people. He didn't have any solutions to that problem yet, but he was desperately hoping one would present itself. Junpei looked over at the clock. The hands indicated that it was 4:30. They had 90 minutes before their time was up. Hey! Junpei! June! What the hell are you 2 doing? Hurry it up! Santa's voice jolted Junpei out of his reverie. Let's go, Jumpy! June took off down the stairs, jogging as quickly as she could. Junpei followed. As a group, they piled onto the elevator and rode impatiently down to E-Deck. It looked familiar. There was a metal grate between the 2 elevators. 7 grabbed hold of it and began to talk.
I know I told you I'd explain it earlier, but honestly, there ain't much to explain. After we split off from you guys, the 4 of us got into the elevator on the left, and that took us to the other side of the grate. After that,
they'd headed down another hallway. It took them toward the bow of the ship, eventually to the number 6 that Junpei and June had found earlier. With the 4, they'd been able to open the door and keep going. As usual, they'd faced a locked door, but had been forced to complete 2 different areas before they could unlock it. Once they were through that door, there was another hallway that went in the other direction, towards the stern. So, on your way, you found the elevator.
That's right.
So in other words, you kind of did a lap, huh? You came from that side to this side.
Yeah.
With that settled, Junpei looked around. So, where's the number 9 door?
Over here. Follow me.
7 began walking down the hallway that led toward the stern. Junpei and the others broke into a jog to keep up with them. They had been walking for a while, June in silent step with Junpei, when she spoke. You know, it's because of Santa that we're all here right now. Huh? That all 7 of us are going to door 9. You don't get it? Santa, 7, and Lotus. What's their digital root? 3 plus 7 plus 8 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. 9. It's 9. That's right. They could have just left me behind and kept going if they wanted to. But they didn't. Yes, because Santa wouldn't let them. He said we can't leave June behind. That's why we went looking for you guys. And then you got on the elevator and went back to the central staircase. That's right. Well, I wouldn't have called that one. That Santa would be the one to stick up for you. I mean, Junpei felt his eyebrows knit as he considered that. Oh, don't get me wrong. Perhaps June had sensed Junpei's concern. I don't mean that 7 and Lotus said they wanted to leave me behind. We were just talking about it and Santa objected to it first. Junpei was about to respond when...
Somebody's jealous.
7 suddenly stopped. In front of them stood a door. So is this... Junpei couldn't see 7's face, but he could see him nod.
There's no other place for us to go? Nope. Just look around.
At the end of the hallway was a thick iron wall. To the left and right, other hallways led to the port and starboard sides of the ship, but they were both closed off by thick metal grates. It looked as though 7 was right. The door in front of them was their only choice.
Alright, let's get moving.
He pulled open the door and walked in. Sorry, whenever I hear like a Windows sound, I'm like, what's going on? Is everything still working properly? It is. Junpei took a deep breath and followed. It appeared they'd been telling the truth. The first thing Junpei saw as he entered the room was the number 9. Like all the others, it was a rough thing made of red paint. The door decorated set on the back of the wall of a rectangular room. Junpei ran up to it. It was a large double door with powerful styling. Something about it was almost majestic, and it made the red paint look especially garish. Junpei grabbed the handle and shook. It didn't budge, but then he hadn't really expected it to. The red was bolted to the wall next to the door. Its display read, "Vacant." Finally, they'd arrived. Junpei felt a flood of emotion wash over him. He felt a chill down his back and his chest tightened even as his blood began to boil. He was about to speak when... "Junpei, look behind you." He turned around. Junpei could scarcely believe what he saw. A door and a 9. There was another one. Hey, what the hell? What the hell is going on here? His words came slowly and his brain struggled to understand what he'd seen. On shaky legs, he made his way to the second 9. It was a small door, set parallel to the door they'd come through, but in the other corner of the room. 9. There was no mistaking the number, and if any more proof was needed, a red was bolted to the wall near the door. He grabbed the handle and shook the door, not because he expected it to open, but because he had to make sure it was real. Why the hell are there 2 doors? It was Ace who spoke first.
Do you think perhaps one is the right door, and the other is the wrong one?
Otis was skeptical. I don't know about that. That seems unlikely.
What makes you say so?
Well, think about all the rooms we've been through so far. They're full of puzzles. There are always hints about how to solve them. I'm pretty sure there aren't any rooms where we just had to go with our best guess and leave it to instinct to solve the puzzle. Do you really think that at the very end of the game, Zero's going to suddenly throw in something that depends entirely on luck?
You're saying there's some sort of hint in this room?
No, I don't think there's a hint anywhere in here. I searched it very well when I was in here before. I didn't find anything that might have been a hint, though.
Well then, that means...
Yeah, both of these are the right door. I mean, if you think about it, Zero never actually said there was only one door with a 9 on it. The exit is hidden, but it is there. Seek the exit. Seek the door that carries a 9. Junpei began to mutter to himself. So if there are 2 number 9 doors, if we split it up right, it's not gonna work. Junpei blinked and looked up at Clover. She held out her hand. Got a notebook and a pen, right? Can I borrow them? Slightly confused, he pulled them out and handed them to her. Look at this! Clover opened the notebook to a blank page and set it down on the desk. Everyone else gathered around her and watched as she wrote down a series of numbers. You get it? The numbers on the top are all the combinations with digital roots of 9. The numbers on the bottom are the people who don't fit. There's only 8 possibilities if we split up into 2 groups of 3 or 4 people. So, if 3 people go through the door, then 4 are left behind. If 4 go through, then 3 are left behind. Right? Clover nodded, almost as if she were pleased with herself for solving a difficult math problem. The room went very quiet. Silence lay across everyone like a thick, heavy blanket. No one spoke. Their faces were blank. Desperate for something else to look at, Junpei turned his eyes to the room around him. As he did, he began to wonder. What was it? The walls were covered with candles. The wavering flame made the shadows of Junpei and his companions look as though they were dancing. 2 rows of wooden pews filled most of the room. Between them was a strip of rich red carpet. The carpet ran straight through the room, ending at the door that pointed to the stern of the boat. At the other end of the carpet, an altar? It was a recessed space set into the wall between the 2 other doors. Sitting on a raised section of the altar was a coffin. Did I say coughing like the Pokemon? No, a coffin. A coffin. 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 Alright. No, it couldn't possibly be. But if it wasn't, then whose body occupied it? That was as far as Junpei wanted to pursue that line of thought. He decided not to think about the coffin, for the time being. At that moment, Seven spoke. There was an edge of humor to his voice, but it was forced.
Okay. I give up. I give up. Figured if we sat around here long enough, someone would volunteer, but guess nobody's got the guts to do it.
Junpei didn't understand, and he wasn't the only one.
What? You guys didn't figure it out yet? Ugh. Fine, fine. Let me enlighten you. Clover was mostly right about her little explanation earlier, but she missed something. She wasn't really wrong, she just... screw it. Let me just write it out.
Seven snatched up the notebook and began to write in it. Everyone else clustered around him, desperate for a look.
If you're trying to leave with a group of 3 and a group of 4 and get everybody out, Clover's right. But there's another way. Only one combination, though. If you split up into groups of 3, 3, and 1, you can make this combination.
Wait. This means...
Don't get me wrong here. I'm not trying to copy Ace or anything like that. Even if he hadn't been the hero back in the big hospital room, I'd still be saying the same thing.
The same thing? Are you saying...
Yeah, I am. I'll stay behind.
Why are you acting so heroic all of a sudden?
Are you some kind of idiot?
Oh, are you some kind of idiot? That was her to him. Lotus was the first to speak. That in itself was a little strange. She'd reacted much differently when Ace had volunteered. Okay, I'll be right back. And back. We finally have the air on, and I was beginning to get a little cold, so you just had to take care of that. All right. Yeah, she's acting different. I'm completely against this. I'll be goddamn if I'm going to have to owe you for getting out of here. The rest of them began to speak all at once. I'm against it too. I didn't want to leave Ace behind, and I don't want to leave you either. I don't like that idea. There's got to be another oh my freaking lord, why can I not read tonight? There's got to be other options.
I disagree as well. Can't say I care much for you being the hero.
Finally, they quieted down. Junpei looked at Seven. Well, there you go, Seven. Proposal denied. Clover's right. There's got to be a better way than this. Seven made some noise that was somewhere between a derisive snort and a cough.
Doesn't make any sense.
He was doing his best to pretend they were making a foolish decision, but Junpei could see the twinkling of water at the corners of Seven's eyes. That was what Santa... Oh my lord. That was when Santa spoke. Whoa, hold on a minute. I haven't said anything yet. Until then, Junpei hadn't realized that Santa had stayed quiet for the whole discussion of Seven's fate. Something in his voice made Junpei uncomfortable. Are you agreeing? You want to leave him here? Santa shook his head. Nah, I'm against it. I don't want to leave Seven here all alone. Then I don't see how it matters. I said alone. Huh? I said I don't want to leave Seven alone. There was a dull shine in Santa's eyes. They were cold and hard. Junpei felt himself shiver. What the hell are you... What, you don't get it? I can't leave just one person. I need 2 more. 3 people, including Seven. I'll be leaving behind 3 people. That's my proposal. No. Those are my orders. What do you mean, orders? What the hell makes you think you can order us around? Who the hell's gonna listen to you? You all will. In 3 seconds, you won't have a choice. What? 3, 2, 1. Santa was so fast, Junpei could barely see him. When he moved, it was almost like watching a dance. His feet moving like lightning. He spun and... Ah! What? This is literally the exact same thing as when Ace had Lotus. He had June. See? I told you. His lips curled into a cruel, mocking smile. A shudder traveled the length of Junpei's spine. His chest froze and he could feel his breath go stale in his lungs. Nothing made sense. Junpei felt as though his head were about to explode. Santa's sudden change in attitude, saying that he needed 2 more. The gun in his right hand, a revolver. Santa had grabbed June from behind and pressed what Junpei's shaken brain identified as a revolver roughly against her temple. What was he doing with a gun? Where on earth had Santa possibly found a gun? Junpei's questions roared in his mind, but his mouth refused to ask them. Seven spoke, almost as though he had sensed Junpei's confusion.
The gun's from the other room.
What room?
One of the rooms behind door 6. I should have known he was going to do this. I should have taken the gun.
Well, it's too late now, fat ass. Damn it. A mixture of fury and frustration twisted Seven's face, and he glared at Santa. Santa, for his part, didn't so much as flinch. The corner of his lip twitched into a slightly wider smile. Then the smile faded and he began to move. He walked backward, dragging June with him. Before long, his back was resting against the door. On the wall next to him was the red. He put his hand on the scanner panel quickly, and then forced June to do the same. Now, time for you to start following my orders. Ace, Lotus, congratulations. I've chosen you to come with me. Put your hands on the red. 3 plus 6 plus 1 plus 8 equals 18. That was what Santa had meant when he said he needed 2 more. Hey, you deaf? I gave you an order. Santa's eyes narrowed to slits. He glared at Ace and Lotus. They stayed frozen, like deer caught in the headlights of an oncoming car. Right. Fine. I didn't want to waste any bullets, but you guys just don't get it. No sooner were the words out of Santa's mouth than his hand twitched. Oh shit. And the gun roared. Yo, what? Oh. Okay. A section of the floor exploded, scattering wooden splinters across the floor. A thin plume of smoke snaked out of the hole in the floor. There could be no doubt that the gun was real and worked. But why? Santa, why are you... Clover's voice spoke out of betrayal and disbelief. Santa, I thought you were one of us. I thought we were friends. What? You knew about the leaf word and the four-leaf clover. Santa's cheek twitched, almost imperceptibly. What the hell is that shit? I've got no idea. You're lying. Shut up. Just shut up, you stupid bitch. Wow, you're an asshole. You want me to put a bullet in your fucking head? Flecks of spit flew from Santa's mouth, his face twisted with rage. Clover recoiled, her eyes wide. When she spoke, her voice was very small. Santa... He snorted, then shook his head vigorously, and turned to face Ace and Lotus. Alright, assholes, what are you still standing there for? Get over here and scan those bracelets, I don't have all day. Oh, what's the matter? Your hearing's starting to go? Going senile, maybe? Ace and Lotus still didn't move. It almost seemed as if they couldn't move. June's face was pale behind Santa's arm. Her eyes were wild and her chest heaved with every quick breath, like an animal cornered by a predator. Junpei's mind worked furiously. What were they going to do? And he realized something. There was nothing they needed to do. There was nothing to debate. June's safety was the first priority. That much was obvious. Doing as Santa had commanded meant that she would be safe from at least 2 threats. She wouldn't be shot, and she would leave the ship alive, along with Santa, Ace, and Lotus. There was only one thing for Junpei to do. He turned to Ace and Lotus. Please, go. Huh? But... Jumpy, what are you saying? If you stay here, you're gonna be stuck, Jumpy. And so will Clover and Seven. I know. But you don't need to worry about us. We'll figure something out. Right, Seven?
Right. You just leave it to us. It's gonna piss me off to do what Santa says, but...
Don't worry about me either. There's still something I have to take care of. But... no! You can't! Ace! Lotus! Don't do it! Don't worry about me! Please! June was almost crying. Junpei walked around behind Ace and Lotus. Without a word, he laid a hand on each of their backs and gently pushed them forward. They almost stumbled, then righted themselves and took another step. And another. They turned around and Junpei nodded. Ace and Lotus turned around again and walked slowly toward the door where Santa was waiting for them. After what seemed like an eternity, they stopped in front of the door marked 9. Santa smiled. Alright, now let's get those hands on the scanner panel. What's the hold up? What, you think I'm fucking around here? I don't give a shit about this girl. The red doesn't need a person, you know. All I need is the bracelet. You get it? Good. Now put your fucking hands on the scanner. I'm not gonna say it again. He shoved the revolver harder against June's head and she winced. Fine. Ace sighed, defeated, and placed his hand on the scanner panel. Lotus went next. Lotus glared at Santa and slammed her hand onto the scanner panel. The 4th asterisk blinked on. Good job. Now Lotus, pull that lever. As soon as the door opens, you get your ass in there. Try anything stupid and you know what happens, right? Junpei could almost hear Lotus's teeth grind. The door slid open. Door number 9 opened at last. It opened with a low, powerful rumble, a drum roll to welcome the chosen few. Alright, go. Lotus and Ace walked through the door, their eyes furious but defeated. Santa walked until they were all way inside, then hauled himself and June across the threshold as well. 7, 8. Later. After exactly 9 seconds, the door swung shut. The gust of air created caused the candles on the altar to flicker and die. The room fell silent. Junpei, Clover, and Seven had been left behind. Clover looked down at her hand and traced with her finger the faint blue veins that crisscrossed them. Seven shoved his arms into the front of his overalls and scratched his stomach. No one spoke. Silence made the air feel thick and oppressive. Desperate for anything to occupy his mind, Junpei walked to the larger of the 2 9 doors. He stood in front of it and looked at the red. It read engaged. He moved to the smaller door. The red, vacant. The digital root of the remaining people was 7. 5 plus 4 plus 7 equals 16. 1 plus 6 equals 7. There was no possible way for them to open a door with 9 on it. Junpei touched the surface of the door. He thought about June, about Akane Kurashiki. Was she safe? That was all that mattered to him. If she was alive, if she had escaped this horrible boat, that was what Junpei prayed for. Seven came up to him. Oh my god. Seven came up next to him. He pulled off his hat, scratched his head, and sighed.
So, what do you want to do, Junpei?
What do you mean, what do I want to do? What can we do? Seven opened his mouth to respond when... a noise echoed through the room. Someone was pounding on something vigorously. It wasn't mechanical. It was certainly human. Junpei and Seven looked at one another.
What the hell is that?
Shh. Quiet. Clover motioned to Steven to be quiet. Or Seven. Good Lord. I apologize for being unable to read. She put one finger to her lips and closed her eyes in concentration. The 3 of them listened, trying to determine where the sound was coming from. Where? Where was it coming from? Could it be?
Hey, I think it's coming from this coffin.
You're right. Let's open it up.
But how?
What are those muscles for? For show?
You're telling me to force it open?
Just shut up and try. Junpei and Seven grabbed the hold of the coffin. They tried to get a good grip of what little purchase they could find and pulled with all their strength. Uh-oh. Effort sounds. Damn it.
Man, it won't even budge it.
Or it's not even on a budget. I can talk. Okay, I'm awake now. There was some sort of keypad attached to the coffin. Its purpose would not have been difficult to determine. Their eyes were almost immediately drawn to it.
Not another one.
Yeah, looks like it. Do you think we have to put in the right password or it won't open?
I think so.
The noise wasn't stopping. In fact, it was getting louder. They had no idea who was in the coffin, but they wanted out, and they wanted out now. They had no idea what they were supposed to do. Without a passcode, it didn't seem like there was a lot they could do. They couldn't even tell how many numbers the passcode needed to be. Isn't there a hint somewhere?
Well, let's look for one.
Unfortunately, there didn't seem to be anything near the coffin. Clover ran to examine the pews, and Seven investigated the desk, but they turned up nothing. The sound still wouldn't stop. It wasn't a noise that belonged in that room. What was the passcode? What was Junpei supposed to do? How was he supposed to figure it out? He needed something. The world blinked. Suddenly there was a voice inside of Junpei's head. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. Now truth is asleep in the darkness of the sinister hand. What the hell was that? That voice? Junpei was utterly and completely baffled.
Huh? What are you talking about?
What's up? Seven and Clover ran over to him, but Junpei didn't know what to tell them. If he told them he'd heard a voice, they'd laugh, or worse, think he was going insane. So all he said was, "Oh, nothing." He cleared his throat a little too loud and looked pointedly down at his bracelet. There were a pair of small buttons protruding from either side of it. Junpei pressed the buttons on the bracelet. Oh my god, is this some meta fourth wall breaking? Is that why you needed to do the safe ending first? Truth, I mean, it alternates, so... Yeah, this is the only one that alternates. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Oh my god. That's why they set the game up like this. It's just all one big metaphor for the whole telepathy thing they're trying to do. I mean, granted, you, the player, are the one, like, doing everything each time, but it could be argued, because I'm going back to the rat experiment that Santa had mentioned. Whereas, like, each time the experiment was ran, the rats were able to complete it quicker and quicker. Each time I'm going through one of the escape rooms, I'm managing to do it quicker and quicker. It's all one big metaphor. Wow. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, it's simultaneously cool, but also like, why? I'm leaning towards neat. It's a neat thing. If that is, in fact, what they were going for. Eight numbers blinked on and then off on the bracelet display. Junpei checked one last time. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. 1, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. Huh? Eh?
Hey, what the hell were those numbers?
Oh my gosh, are those... Junpei didn't answer. He simply walked straight to the coffin. He knelt down in front of the keypad, running over the numbers in his head so that he wouldn't forget. 143834421. 143834421. With trembling fingers, he punched them in. One, 4, 3, 8, 3, 4, 2, 1. You know, I'm shocked they didn't go the whole 9 yards. Why did nobody talk about deja vu? Like, just the concept of it, like a feeling you've done something before. Then again, that kind of would have been just hammering the point home. That was all of them. He punched the E button. Like, there would just be no subtlety with that whatsoever. It's just like, haha, this was symbolic, and we're spelling it out for you. Okay. There was a moment of complete silence. Then there was the sound of the coffin lid unlatching. Someone sat up out of it. Oh, is that you, Clover? I apologize for worrying you. Snake? Oh my. How did you... Junpei and Seven, is that you? Is everyone else there as well? Just like Rip Van Winkle. Still, it wasn't very much like Snake to simply cut to the heart of the matter and ask. Junpei and Seven shared a wry smile. Clover's eyes were filled with tears. You're back! With a cry of joy, she leapt into Snake's arms. Gently now. The body's still a little weak. You're back! You're back! Clover looked like nothing so much as a lost child who had finally found her home. She cried and cried and cried. Her eyes were red and her nose was running. She hiccuped and gasped, as if she were about to begin hyperventilating. You're back! You're really here! Her voice was happy, but almost desperate, as if she feared he would disappear again if she stopped talking to him. Tear after tremendous tear rolled its way down her face. Her small arms were strained as she clutched Snake's body as tightly as she could. Perhaps she had to convince herself he was real. Perhaps she was worried he would be gone the moment she let go. Perhaps she simply didn't know what else to do. Oh, you're back! Come now, what's gotten into you? You're acting as though I've returned from the grave. Not as though you did! I really thought you were dead. Huh? You jerk! Idiot, idiot, idiot! Clover broke into sobs so great she could no longer talk. It was a touching reunion between brother and sister. Despite, the continuous yelling of idiot. Even though Junpei knew they had little time and every minute they waited was a minute they wasted, it felt cruel to pull them apart. Read the room, Junpei. Junpei and Seven sat down on one of the pews waiting for Clover to calm down before explaining to Snake what had transpired. I see. I believe I understand things rather well now, thank you. In the shower room there was a dead body wearing my clothes. Because of that, you thought that I was dead. Correct? He had quickly and neatly summarized the events of several hours. Junpei nodded. You also discovered a corpse in the captain's quarters, and Santa turned on you here, in this room. Do I have it straight? Seven had been rather surprised to learn of the dead body in the captain's quarters. With everything that had taken place, Junpei had simply forgot to mention it to him. Well then, I've got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but I can't tell if that's shadow or if they're really spelling it out that is indeed a fake arm. Like his left arm. But it does look a little wider. Like that wrist looks wider than his right arm wrist. Got a pretty decent idea of what happened while I was indisposed, but it's still something of a mystery who did all this, and why. The corpse in the shower room that looked like me, and the corpse in the captain's quarters. Why were they killed in the way they were?
You don't know?
No. Why would I?
Exactly. The guy in the shower room. We don't know who he is, so let's just call him Mr. X. Anyway, this Mr. X is wearing Snake's clothes. You're wearing some kind of weird robes. That means someone took your clothes and put them on Mr. X. We need to figure out who that was.
I apologize, but I have no idea who might have done this to me. I only just now woke up. I was unconscious during all the events you just described to me. They must have undressed me and changed my clothes during that time.
When were you knocked out?
We split up to look for the red.
Where did they get you? Do you remember?
It was a small room in one of the hallways on C deck.
What happened?
What happened? That was 7 there. The same thing that happened to every one of us when we were abducted. A can releasing some sort of gas was thrown into the room. I believe the gas is some sort of incapacitating agent.
Then that means it was
0.
Looks that way, huh?
There's nothing else I have to tell you. When I woke up, I was in this coffin.
Junpei crossed his arms and thought. Why had Zero made Mr. X wear Snake's clothes? How had the results of that trick benefited Zero? It was a mystery. Junpei couldn't make sense of it. He also didn't have a satisfactory explanation for how he discerned the key code for the coffin. It just didn't make sense. Truth had gone, and truth had gone. What did that mean? Did it mean anything? And why had Junpei felt compelled to push the buttons on the bracelet after hearing them? Seven had asked him about it while they waited for Clover to finish crying. He had no answer for him then, and he still didn't. All he could say was that it seemed to have been a subconscious reaction. His fingers had simply moved of their own accord. It was the only explanation that made any sort of sense, and it made almost no sense. Junpei had no idea what any of it meant. His mind was a maelstrom of mysteries, clues, theories, and more mysteries. He could barely think. Couldn't they... didn't Clover mention truth had gone at first? So he could have just said like, oh, Clover's... No. It gave me a brain blast because I'm Jimmy Neutron now. And of course, Snake and Clover had been subjects in a similar experiment 9 years ago. The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany, and the other is danger. And someone did actually die. A girl. Her name was, There had been another experiment conducted on the same ship 9 years ago. A girl had died during it. Morphogenetic field theory. The 2 murders. Switching clothes. The nonary game. And whatever strange thing was happening to Junpei himself. The maelstrom in his head spat out words and ideas that disappeared back into it almost as soon as he grasped them. But as he struggled through them, Junpei began to realize something. There was something that tied all of them together. Zero. He was the ringleader, the person who had trapped 9 people on a sinking ship. Zero knew everything. If they could uncover Zero's identity, all of their questions would be answered. Who was Zero? Junpei had the beginnings of a theory. If he could only test it. Or perhaps... At any rate, we have plenty of time to decipher the details later. For now, it is of utmost importance that we escape. Junpei, it was 4:30 the last time you checked the clock, yes? That means we have less than an hour. We must hurry. Hey! Are we gonna get out of here?
Isn't that obvious? Through the other number 9 door. 5 plus 4 plus 7 plus 2 equals 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9.
Oh yeah! Yeah, you're right! With Snake, we can open the door!
Don't tell me you hadn't figured that out. And if the 9th man was here, he would have been able to leave with them. Actually, I think, his gimmick is, no matter who he gets added to, the digital root would remain the same. So He could have just stayed working with everybody and been perfectly fine. Because, yeah, let's say, like, you got all these people, you know, they split up, and he's the only one left, you know. Like at the beginning, with door 4 and door 5. It's like, oh, but I'm a leftover. I don't know who to go with then. Like, you're just going to leave me behind? Like, no, you can just go with whoever doesn't have a team of 5. Boy, I just love random interruptions without any word of warning whatsoever. Like, no slight knock on the door or anything, just straight up yelling my name. But okay, fine. That's going to be fun to edit. But, yeah, like, let's say he would, you know, like the team going through door 4, you know, they already settled on their digital route, but they're a team of 4. But then if they add him, 4 plus 9 equals 13, 1 plus 3 equals 4. So yeah, like, he was just free to go wherever. He was set. Even here, he would be a worthy addition. As they sniped back and forth, Junpei glanced at Snake's left hand. He was wearing a bracelet with a 2 on it. Come on, you gotta tell me these things. I, assumed you'd figured it out. Nah, forget it. Let's just get going. 7 stomped off toward the smaller number 9 door. Clover, Snake, and Junpei followed. 7 quickly laid his hand on the red. An asterisk appeared on the screen. Junpei and the others followed suit and laid their hands on the scanner panel. Soon there were 4 asterisks on the screen. 7 glanced at them and laid his hand on the lever of the red. Alright, you guys ready to go? Yes. Yep. Junpei paused for a moment. Not yet. Huh? Before we go in, I'd like to check something. You want to check something? Yeah, but before I do, 7, could you pull the lever? I want to make sure we can verify with just the 4 of us. What do you mean? We don't need... Just do it, alright? But if the door opens, don't go in yet, okay? Please. This is really important. I really need to check this, okay? Work with me here. Junpei looked directly into 7's eyes. The older man looked back for a moment, then nodded. Fine. Seven pulled down on the lever and door 9 creaked open. Then they waited. 6, 7, 8. After 9 seconds, the door closed. Alright, this means the 4 of us can go into door 9. I mean, yeah, that's self-explanatory. So? We knew that already, it's obvious. Obvious. Yeah, you're right, it is. Now what happens if we add Zero's bracelet? What? Zero's bracelet? Why don't you take it out, Clover? For a moment, Clover looked surprised, but she recovered quickly and stuck her tongue out at Junpei. So you did know I had it. I picked it up because I thought it might be useful sometime. She reached into one of the pockets of her voluminous. I am not familiar with that word. Voluminous jacket and produced a bracelet. I know it means like high volume. Maybe? I don't. Why am I? Okay, you know what? Fine. We can do research here. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk out of my ass here. Oh, okay. Clothing or drapery, loose and ample, or for writing, very lengthy and full. Voluminous purple cloth. We all scribble down voluminous notes. Okay, you might hear Google tell me how to pronounce this. It is what it is. Voluminous, thank you. Okay. Alright. The more you know. Junpei took it from her and turned to 7. This was in the left hand of the corpse in the captain's quarters. If you look at it, you can see it's got a 0 on the face. Just to make this a little easier to talk about, I'm going to call the guy we found dead in the captain's quarters Cap. Oh, can we call him something else, please? Is this symbolic? If Cap was really 0, I'm not really 0. Then I should be able to open door 9 with just me, Clover, and his bracelet. 5 plus 4 plus 0 equals 9. But most importantly, if you were Cap, and this was your game, would you really put one of these bracelets on yourself? Anyway, let's just give it a shot. Clover, give me your hand. Okay. After he and Clover scanned their bracelets, he waved Caps over the scanner panel. Then he pulled the lever. However, the door didn't open. The res display read, "Error." One moment, please. I changed my password yesterday, and I put it in my phone, but I left my phone in my car and I forgot the new password. So can you give me a new one? It's like, wow. Considering the job you have, woman, I would be very, very afraid to be around you with your short-term memory that bad. But alright, I knew it. The door didn't open. The red's display read error. Now, what does this tell us?
Maybe the bracelet has to be on your wrist in order for it to work?
No, that's impossible. Did you see how the panel showed a third asterisk when I scanned Cap's bracelet? Whether or not it's on your wrist doesn't matter. All you have to do is put the bracelet near the panel for it to register. 7 waved his bracelet in front of the scanner panel. Sure enough, a single asterisk appeared on the red.
Huh. Looks like you're right.
See? So what does that mean? There's only one possibility. That bracelet isn't the number 0. Is that what you're saying? That's right. Then, what number is it? Let's find out. Junpei, scan the bracelet with this combination. How is this going to tell us anything? I don't know, trial and error then? Snake, Junpei, and Cap. Snake plus Junpei equals 2 plus 5 equals 7. This combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 2. However, the door didn't open. Cap's number wasn't 2. Junpei proceeded to... Alright. Snake plus Clover plus Cap. Snake plus Clover equals 2 plus 4 equals 6. If this combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 3. However, door didn't open, Cap's number wasn't 3. Junpei proceeded to... Snake plus Junpei plus 7 plus Cap. Snake plus Junpei plus 7 equals 2 plus 5 plus 7 equals 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. This combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 4. However, wait. Yeah, okay. Math checks out. The door didn't open. Cap's number wasn't 4. Junpei proceeded to... Snake plus Clover plus 7 equals 2 plus 4 plus 7 equals 13. 1 plus 3 equals 4. If this combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 5. However, door didn't open. Cap's number wasn't 5. Junpei proceeded to... Is it going to be 6 like last time? 7 plus Junpei plus Cap. 7 plus Junpei equals 7 plus 5 equals 12. 1 plus 2 equals 3. If this combination opened the door, then Cap's bracelet was number 6.
Hey! It opened. The door opened.
What? Why? What does that mean?
Both Seven and Clover seemed rather shaken. As they turned to look at Junpei for answers, the door slid heavily shut. Junpei raised an eyebrow. Isn't it obvious? Cap's bracelet is number 6. 7 plus 5 plus 6 is equal 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. But doesn't it say 0?
This isn't a 0. The symbol on here isn't a number 0. It's a letter O.
Oh.
Whoa, wait a minute. I don't get it. I mean, we figured out that Cap's bracelet is 6, right?
Yeah.
Does that mean there are 2 people with 6s?
Before Junpei could answer, Snake spoke up. There is, most likely, only one person with a 6.
But I don't get it. What about June?
Well, this is only an educated guess, but I think June's number was never 6 to begin with. Her bracelet was flipped. In other words, June's real number is 9? That seems the most likely.
Then all this numbered door stuff was just a load of crap? I mean, it makes sense then, because then she'd just be able to get in with anybody. So does that mean the 9th man was actually 6?
Because who opened the door for him?
I know he had Clover.
Let's just say it was Clover. 9 plus 4 is 13.
Was it Ace?
Yeah, I think it was Ace.
But, why would you say that? Because if June is 9, then the numbers wouldn't match up.
Clover grabbed Junpei's notebook and began to write furiously in it. Junpei leaned over to look at it. List of all the numbered doors June's gone through. Clover read each row out loud so that Snake could follow along.
Alright, I made a list of all the numbered doors that June has gone through so far. I wrote down which door she went to and with who. And I wrote what all the numbers were. So if you switch 9 in wherever there's a 6, the numbers don't work. If the digital root is 7, you can't open door 4.
Oh shit, was my math off then? Wait a minute.
If the digital root is 2, then you can't open door 8.
Clover, do you notice anything interesting on that list?
What do you mean?
You're talking about 3, right?
3?
Santa's always in the room with her. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Oh, wait, was that Clover saying that? But also, yes? Holy shit. Exactly.
What about it?
It's quite simple, really. You told me that the first time you came to this room, Santa was the first to refuse to leave June behind. Now, doesn't that beg the question, why? Why would Santa do such a thing? The answer is easy. Because Santa can't open door 9 with only 7 in Lotus. Of course, there's only one reason for that. His number isn't actually 3. Santa's real number... 7, would you be so kind as to modify my sister's equations? Yeah, sure. 7 took the pen from a confused Clover and began to adjust her calculations.
This is what you were getting at, right, Snake?
Oh, this is what you were getting at, right, Snake?
He read out the changes he'd made. When he finished, he looked at Snake. Snake smiled. Thank you. That is exactly right, Seven. Santa's true number wasn't 3. It was 0. No way. Santa is 0? And June was 9, not 6. On the contrary, Santa was 0, not 3. Plus 3 and minus 3. They cancel one another out. Nothing appears out of order.
Then that means that even though he set the whole damn thing up, Santa was still playing by the rules of the nonary game this whole time?
Precisely. So you're saying Santa planned this whole thing? I'm not sure if he acted alone or not, but I think it is safe to conclude that he is 0. If my hypothesis is correct. Clover bit her lip. She seemed to be having some difficulty believing her brother's explanation. Junpei remained silent in thought. Snake's hypothesis didn't satisfy him. June's bracelet was flipped. Even if that were possible, then there would have been 2 number 9 bracelets. And if that were the case... Alright, that's enough talking. Let's go. Because yeah, this doesn't explain the 9th man then. Because his couldn't have been 6 then, because he wouldn't have been able to go through that door. So yeah, that's wrong. It's high time we went through that door. Unless there's 2 of everybody on the ship. Door 9 opened. They leapt through. The dead was directly in front of them as they came through the door. Quickly they scanned their bracelets. And the detonator stopped. Phew. After pausing for a moment to catch their collective breath, Junpei and his companions headed down the long hallway in front of them. At the end was a set of stairs leading down into the ship. It looked as though they led all the way to the bottom deck. They looked down. It didn't seem to be flooded. After deciding it was safe, they headed down the stairs. Before long, Junpei and his companions found themselves on the bottom deck. They turned left into another hallway, at the end of which they found another door. And of course there was a symbol engraved over the keyhole. It looked like the sort of harpoon one would use to hunt fish, the kind with 3 prongs. Snake traced the shape of it with his fingers.
This is the Neptune symbol. There must be a key around here somewhere.
Neptune key. All Junpei had was the Uranus key card. Not the same planet and not even the same sort of key. Clearly it wasn't going to open this door. After examining the door for a few more minutes, they gave up and headed back the way they'd come. With a little more searching, they found a metal door. To the side of it was a card reader. The symbol was engraved onto the card reader. It matched the Uranus symbol on the key card Junpei was carrying. This is the place. He muttered to himself and slid the card through the reader. Just checking the menu. It happened once and the light on it turned green. It beeped once and the light on it turned green. With a heavy metal groan, the door creaked open. Junpei, Clover, Snake, and Seven looked at one another, nodded, and stepped through. The room they found themselves in was full of books. It looked remarkably like a library. Not the sort of library where large numbers of people came to read books, more the sort of library that was simply a place to store books, so an archive. He felt a little overwhelmed by the sheer number of books, but Junpei did his best to sneak with authority. Speak with authority, rather, not sneak. Alright, if we want to get through that door out there, we need the Neptune key. I said we split up and look for it. Okay. Very well. Sure thing. Oh, flip that. Very well. Sure thing. Okay. Good. Let's get started then. We don't have a lot of time. Hurry. Alice sleeps in a small chamber past the forest of knowledge. As he began to search for reasons he didn't fully understand, Junpei felt those particular words that float through his mind. I'm ready to escape, my dudes. Alright, what's that paper? Lights to the books. Huh? What does that mean? Interesting. Well, intelligence often hides itself in darkness. Have you ever thought about the pages of a book? Each page only sees what may be 2 or 3 minutes of light before the reader is on to the next. They spend the rest of their lives locked in darkness. Rather like myself. That's horrible. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining, not at all. I live in the darkness, yes, but that has gifted me with the ability to catch the truths others might miss. I can hear the voices hidden in the darkness, you might say. Alright, fine, we get it. You're a Mary Sue, good lord. Dad kind. What the hell is this? Wasn't that a German mathematician? It was a compilation of his work. Owen, huh? Owen isn't enough to go on. Perhaps it's about the English Revolutionary? Could be Owen Hart. Leibniz? This book is in German. It looks like it's the complete works of something. Well, then it would be Liber. Okay. I've never heard of it. Well, if Snake doesn't know what it is, I don't think we'll ever know. Sheldrake? Sheldrake. Isn't Sheldrake? It's a weird book, Junpei. Indian mathematics. That's funny. Well, why is that funny? Indians have math too. It says Riemann hypothesis. What is there to hypothesize about with a Riemann? Isn't it pretty straightforward? Heavens no, there are many factors. Length, girth, oh my freaking lord. It's not that, it's Riemann. It's calculus, come on. Length, girth, lubrication, or lack of. It's an exciting and rapidly growing field. Whoa. I hate the Pythagorean Theorem. This is a famous one. Sounds like there are a number of math books in this section. Algebraic number theory. Math, huh? There's another one like that over here. You mean something like primary number theory or analytical number theory? Or geometry? Oh my gosh, how did you know? Nobody said anything about those. Well, number theory is usually split into 4 chief disciplines. There's a book named Algebraic Number Theory. I took a wild guess that the other 3 would be there as well. Looks like I was right. There's this one's Goldbach's Conjecture. Conjecture? What's it about? Like magic or psychic stuff or something? Right. I bet it's about jewelry, isn't it? That's Goldman Sachs. That's not... It may have an odd title, but it's actually a very respectable mathematics book. It deals with one of the unsolved problems of additive number theory. Sorry I said anything. Look, let's not get into this right now, okay? So we got math books. What's this? Origin of Japanese folklore. Looks like there are a bunch of books about Japanese culture here. Mostly ones about folklore, though. Well, folklore can cover a wide range of subjects. History, urban life, religious trends, environmental changes, oral traditions. Folklore can cover all those things if you know where to look. This looks pretty deep. Agriculture and historical organizations and folklore. Modern Japanese literature, huh? A picture book. Here? Looks like it's an old folktale. Don't you think it's a little weird that this book's the only picture book? Maybe you ought to hold on to it. It's got a magic wand on it. Okay. So, what's inside? Well, aren't you going to open it? Pretty sure it's just going to have pages inside. Oh, whoa. SE5? What is that? Well, when I opened it, these 4 letters popped out. So I guess it's a pop-up book, huh? SE5. I wonder what that means. Let's see what we've got here. So many books here. I wonder what this one's... Whoa, what's this? Warm. Oh. Sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Hey, what's the deal with this sappy stuff?
What happened? Did their hands touch or something? Bunch of books on folklore and myth here. Books here in all sorts of languages. But there's something suspicious about the shelf on the left. Books on the glass shelf from left to right. They say volume 6, volume 3, volume 2, volume 4, volume 1, and volume 5. Not yet. Small enclosure with 9 sides. There are 3 of these things that look kind of like music stands. Hey Junpei, you think maybe you're supposed to put those pop-up books on the stands? You could open them up.
Oh yeah. If we do that, then they make a shadow on the bottom there.
True, but there are 3 stands, right? We don't have enough picture books. In other words, we need 3 picture books. This book is called, Mind Swap. You mean you could, like, change bodies with someone? I guess I wouldn't mind switching bodies with my brother or Junpei too much. I'd rather die and let Seven switch with me.
What the hell? Like, I even want to swap bodies with a little brat like...
Hey, were you just imagining it? You were!
Shut up.
Yeah, well, he wasn't the only one. Oh my god, Junpei. This is not the time. Teletemporation and telepathy. What the hell is this one about? Maybe it's about teletemporation and telepathy, Junpei. You ever thought about that?
Well, I know what telepathy is, but I never heard of teletemporation.
It refers to having the ability to travel through time. Kitab al-Azif. Man, they got some weird stuff here. I can't even pronounce this one. Who's that? Some famous guy? It's not a person's name. It's the name of a fictional book created by Abdul al-Azred. Said to be one of the sources used in the creation of the legendary Book of the Dead, the Necronomicon. Oh. So these are all occult books and stuff. This one says the golden rabbit and the moon on it. Does that mean it's about a rabbit that lives on the moon? Rabbits are pretty cute, but what's the moon stuff about? It's talking about the Judas tree that is said to grow on the moon, according to Chinese legend. Yeah, teletemporation and telepathy. Okay, so...
Energy theory, huh? I don't even understand the damn title. Looks like this shelf's all science and technology.
Oh my god.
Why did mankind lose their tails? Junpei, did you know about this one? Or do you know what this one's about?
Why are you asking me? I didn't even know we had tails to lose. Maybe you should ask a human with a tail. Mankind's ancestors most likely lost their tails as they were no longer useful, and the nutrients required to grow them were better put to use elsewhere. At least that's what I read. I was rather young. I may have remembered it incorrectly.
Huh? Why the hell would a kid be reading a book like that?
Micrographia, huh? Ah, yes, Robert Hooke's famous work, first published in 1665. He built a microscope and examined insects, inorganic substances, and other things too, small to be seen in detail by human eyes. He then drew pictures of many of the things he'd examined and published them in a book. I'd hazard a guess the shelf is concerned with natural sciences. Creatures of the South Seas, huh? I wonder if this one's got pictures of colorful fish and stuff. Paleontology? This one's about fossils, right? Ammonites are pretty nasty looking.
This one says transition of extinct species.
We need to hurry it up or we're going to end up in the pages of a book like that. Ha 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 ha, I see what happened there. Introduction of geology, huh? Thinking about the Earth, even when you're on the ocean, kind of romantic in a way, I guess.
The theory of evolution. Heck, even I know this one. This is that Darwin guy, right?
Well, yes and no. Charles Darwin wrote a book called On the Origin of the Species. In it, he put forth his theory of evolution. Yeah, I remember that part. He called it natural selection. Exactly. Mother Nature.
Is that some sort of book about hippie chicks?
Probably not. Except perhaps tangentially. It's most likely about environmental protection.
I was just trying to make a joke.
Dude, hippie chicks? Really?
Theories of the Cambrian explosion. The bomb go off near somewhere called Cambria?
Wrong kind of explosion. Roughly 500 million years ago, during what is known as the Cambrian period, research suggests that the variety of living organisms increased by an order of magnitude. Why that happened is, however, still something of a mystery. There are a number of theories. This book is most likely a collection of them.
Metal.
Well, it's here is Faraday's laws of electrolysis. I believe that's going to be about electrolysis in an electrolyte solution. These particular laws were set down by Michael Faraday. I can't. Alright. Yeah, the two top ones on the corners are unable to be checked.
The property value is going up out in space too these days. Man, guess times are tough for aliens too.
This one says cosmic inflation. Oh my god, 7. Supersymmetric string theory in 10-dimensional space-time. They're just talking about superstring theory. It's a theory of reality where... how to explain? It says that all elements of the universe are governed by the vibrations and harmonics of tiny supersymmetric strings. What's this? An overview of conformal field theory. Well, it's a theory that posts an invariant quantum field where conformal transformation can take place.
Knock it off with this science voodoo stuff. You're trying to put me to sleep.
Theory of general relativity, huh? Oh, I know this one. That's Einstein, right? She was so happy. Quantum gravity. 7, do you have any idea what this is?
How about you start by using real words? And maybe we'll get somewhere.
What's the deal with these titles?
They're all just gibberish.
Hey, what if we, like, switch them around? Switch them around? Yeah. If we move them around, maybe they'll spell out something. Oh, I get it. Yeah, heck, it's worth a shot. Okay, well, I can make open with, like, that. That's not... Open here, find bulb. How about this? Oh, it's like putting those books in the right order. Open this thing right up. Yeah, that was a piece of cake. Hooray! You did it, Junpei! I guess that turned out well enough. So the letters from the title spell out, open here, find bulb. We got a light bulb. It's a powerful one. The light bulb looks like it's brand new. It's really big, so it'll make a lot of light. Now what? Energy theory, development of nanotechnology materials, interactions between shortwave energy and matter. What else have we got? Just listening to you read those titles is giving me a headache.
Can't say fancy technology stuff and I get along real well. I'm gonna talk about that stuff and you're gonna put me to sleep.
This book's called Cosmic Inflate. Oh no, I already. Black hole hypothesis. Gamma ray astrophysics. I guess this bookshelf has an astronomy theme.
Hey, it's another one of those kids' picture books. It looks like the other one we found. This one has some Native Americans on the cover. Hey Junpei, take a look at this one.
Native Americans, huh? Maybe it's got some... Whoa. Can I?
Look at the letters L, R, and K popping out of it.
Oh, the R is upside down. Alright.
Can't make any sense out of them, though. Large, round, and kinky? Nah, probably not.
God dang it. 7. Oriental history? Maybe this one's about China's 4,000 years of history or something? Hey, Chinese history and Oriental history aren't the same thing. This one's called History of the Western World.
Well, I'd assume it's about European history.
Yeah. Just gonna leave it at that. Snake, doesn't seem like you. Hey, look at this. This book's called Greek Mythology.
Damn, that thing's huge. Can't imagine anyone's actually read the whole thing. Pretty sure it just put me to sleep.
Are you even aware of what books are going to do? History of the medieval period. Maybe it's about Sir Lancelot? Isn't he just a story? I don't think you're going to find a guy who didn't really exist in a history book. What's Hellenism? I think it's something like a fusion of Greek and Oriental culture.
Permian creatures. Seems a little fancy for some kind of prehistoric critter. Not to mention most of them were likely reptiles and amphibians. Without hair, I can't imagine they'd had much need of perms.
It's got nothing to do with this. Look, this one says Cultural Heritage of Rome.
But that's going to be serious inheritance tax.
A history of Buddhism. Oh, that's all we get for that? No, okay. Okay. This one, it looks just like that picture book from earlier. I want the pop-ups.
I think they're part of a series or something. They do have the same binding.
Baseball. There's a baseball in this one. Come on, Junpei, let's see what's in it. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's probably baseball still. Whoa. Head. What does everybody want?
Heard.
It's got the letters H-E-A-D popping out of it. Principles of monkey behavior, huh? I'd imagine there's a book describing praxeology studies on monkeys. Monkeys are very similar to humans evolutionarily, so I imagine the research was fruitful. Oh, look, 7, here's a book that's perfect for you. It's called Correlation of Muscle, Bone Density, and Bone Strength.
You're just saying that because it says muscle.
This book is just called Dissection. bookshelf must be all medical books. From what I can tell, it sounds as though these books have been organized. I skipped over that. Sorry. Oh, wait. It won't let me go back into the thing? This library must be massive. I'm rather impressed by how well organized it is. Functions of the human brain, huh? I guess this is a book about the nervous system. I'd love to ask you to read it to me, but I don't think we have the time. I'm kind of curious about it, too. There's gotta be a reason why people connect with each other, you know? Human equilibrium theory.
Human anatomy.
Regeneration of internal organs. Ancient gladiators. That's what this... Or what's this book doing here? Maybe they were researching human physical limits across history.
Look, this was called Recreation of Lost Human Functions. You think they're talking about if you, like, lose part of your body, you could grow it back?
I don't think so. Maybe they're talking about reconstructing abilities that humankind once possessed. In other words, they may be talking about cultivating a sixth sense. Dissection Atlas, huh? This whole shelf is full of medical books. Well, I got all the picture books. He's not wrong about the light creating fear. Because if you're oblivious to danger or anything that could go wrong, you sort of have like that peace of mind that like you don't have to worry about a thing. Alright, where was the podium at? It's a coat rack, like a place where you can hang coats and hats and stuff. Thank you for explaining. This one's not too big, so maybe just hats. Okay, let's place the books down. A nice size. There are these things that look kind of like music stands. Okay, how about we try putting these picture books on the stands? Then... This is a little weird.
You can sort of see the letters. It's too dark in here to really tell, though.
That probably means our light isn't bright enough. Three lights in this thing. They aren't very bright, though.
Hey, didn't we find some kind of really powerful light bulb earlier? Why don't you put it into one of those lights?
Yeah. Well, it'll get a lot brighter, but
if there are three lights, that means three light bulbs.
There won't be much point unless we can replace all three bulbs. We need 3 light bulbs, huh? Okay, where could the other 2 possibly be? What? Do you think we should hold hands where there aren't any handrails? I'll be fine. I can feel vibrations in the floor that tell me where I am. Oh, that's not what I meant. Wait, was she talking to Junpei? Oh, a bookshelf I didn't find yet? I'll be honest, I have just been here for so long. I don't know what I'm doing.
What's that one called?
It says Foundations of DNA and Genetic Engineering. Oh, okay. Automated robotic assembly line techniques. Huh. What's that? Some sort of comic book? Jeez, I guess boys really like that stuff. Huh. No, you're thinking of a different sort of robot. This book is talking about automated machinery that's used to build things, like cars. The more you can learn. Communication and computer science. Huh. That's a pretty generic title. To be honest, it's so vague I don't really know what it might be about. Please give me something here. An overview of photochemistry. I think whoever set this up wanted us to see the cover, not the spine. Let's look at it, okay? Oh my god. Oh, looks like there's a whole lot of space behind these books. Look, Junpei. I think there's something hidden beneath the books, or behind the books. Oh my god. It's the second light bulb.
This is a brand new light bulb. Looks like a pretty high wattage one, too.
Oh my freaking god, we got a light bulb. Okay, so systematically going through everything. Because I guess I never looked at, like, this specific shelf? Because when you check it from right here, there's only one shelf it brings you to. Alright. I'm going to systematically check everything down here. Oh! They pretty much gave us the answer. Because I thought it was weird that the books were numbered, but part of me was thinking I wouldn't be able to, like, work with them, or maybe there was an extra number behind where the two doors meet. So let me see, that would be... Okay, please let this be it. Oh, that's a 5. Oh my god. You did it, Junpei! Yay! I don't know why, but I don't really feel particularly happy about being praised for that. Whatever. At least the lock's open now. Let's see if we can get it open alright. I'm mad at how long it took me. All 6 books seem to be pointing at the cylinder number lock. Ooh. We got 3 light bulbs. Alright, so there are 3 lights in here. I'm gonna change these bulbs. Now they should. Awesome! It worked!
Way to go, Junpei.
Good job, buddy. There's something projecting on the bottom.
These letters, they seem familiar.
Shield Rake 5? Shieldrake 5. Or Sheldrake. Sheldrake. Junpei read the text out loud.
I think I saw the rest of the collection somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around here.
Let's go take a look.
Okay. The Freedom... What? Seven and Clover walked off, leaving Junpei and Snake behind.
Have you heard of him?
Sheldrake, I mean. Junpei grinned. Yeah. Lotus told me about him. There's a British biochemist named Sheldrake. He had a rather interesting theory. The theory of morphogenetic fields, which relies on the theory of morphic resonance. Oh my god. Resonance. Resonance. Learn to read, self. Really? From Lotus, huh? Well, Clover also said something to me about that stuff.
She did?
Yeah, what was it? The ability to access a morphogenetic field is affected by a couple of things. The first is epiphany and the other is danger. That girl. I told her not to tell anyone. You did? Why? Junpei's eyes narrowed. Look, man, I didn't push it because we're in a hurry, but I'm kind of sick of this. How about you just tell me, okay? Tell you what? Don't give me that. About the experiment. Snake's shoulders slumped and he shook his head slowly. He'd finally given up. Very well, fine. I'll tell you everything. But not here. Let's move to the top floor. Junpei nodded. With that, they climbed the stairs to the top floor. Snake was silent for a moment after they arrived, then finally crossed his arms and spoke. Suppose I might as well start by telling you why I kept quiet. Why I made sure Clover did as well. To be honest, the explanation is quite simple. Zero told me not to. I had little choice. He didn't walk up and tell me, of course. He gave me a message engraved on a card. Snake reached into his sleeve and pulled out a small stiff piece of paper. I swear I'm not tired. Okay, I'm slightly tired. Slightly, but I'll be fine. It looked like a good idea. Oh my god, it looked a good deal like the one he'd shown everyone on the central staircase. So you had 2 cards. No, only one. Huh? What do you mean? I thought that card just had some rules for the nonary game on it. Yes, it did. And those were the rules And those were the rules I read you. However, they were not the only thing on the card. There was something I didn't read. Well, perhaps I should say there was something I couldn't read. And that was... Tell no one of the paths that... Oh my lord. Breathe. Tell no one of the events that took place 9 years ago. tell and I activate your sister's detonator. Oh. Well, Well, what about Clover? Did she get a message from 02? I don't believe she did. But doesn't it strike you as strange that Zero would shut my mouth but not hers? Yeah, it does seem a little weird. To be honest, on the safe sides. However, I told her it was best not to tell anyone. Still, apparently she told you. That girl. What's wrong with her oh my god, what's wrong with her telling me? I figured some stuff out with the things she told me. I mean, it looks like the whole activate her detonator thing was just a bluff. She's prancing around downstairs, happy as a clam now that you're back. Snake glanced down at Clover and Seven, examining one of the bookshelves. That's very true. I've decided I can trust you. I've decided to tell you the truth. The chance that Santa is 0 is very high. I feel I can assume Santa doesn't have the time to observe us at the moment. At any rate, even if he were, I very much doubt he would kill us. Jump cut over. And at any rate, even if he were, I very much doubt he would kill us. Why not? Clover told me about the 4-leaf clover, about the words. If he knew about that, then he was in my group during the first experiment. I'm sure of it. He wouldn't kill us, no matter what the situation was. Snake paused and cocked his head, as though he was listening to something very far away. His face looked dark, as though something was weighing on him. Hey, Snake? Junpei wasn't quite sure what to say. Snake turned and looked at him. Yes, I know. You want to know what happened during the experiment? Yeah. How much do you know? Junpei relayed to Snake everything Clover had told him. Morphogenetic field in the experiments 9 years prior that had dealt with it. How the experiment had taken place simultaneously at 2 locations, one being the ship and the other being a building in Nevada. How they played the nonary game. He told him everything. And finally he told him how a girl had died during the experiment. Oh, she told you all that, did she? Snake looked down. His face was tight. A slight tremor shook his body and he tried to hide it. He was putting on a good front, but even Junpei could tell that he was holding back something deep and powerful. He made as if to brush something from his face and looked up at Junpei. At any rate, I now know how much you've learned. All that remains for us to determine is who did this and why, right? Yes. Can you tell me what happened? Snake nodded slowly. The people who organized the ritual experiment, or the initial experiment, were from a company called Cradle Pharmaceutical. There were 4 of them running the show. Gentaro Hangao, Nagisa Nijisaki, Teraki Kubota, Kazuchika Musashido. Hangao was the CEO of Cradle Pharmaceutical. Nijisaki was the right-hand man and did the lion's share of the planning. Kubota led the company's research and development division. Musashido was their majority shareholder. It was these 4 people who planned the initial experiment. Let me simplify it for you. Hangao designed it and Nijisaki put it all together. Kubota developed the technology required and Musashido provided the cash. So it's Hangao, Nijisaki, Kubota, Musashido. Junpei couldn't shake the sense that he had heard those 4 names somewhere before. Of course, more than 4 people were required to conduct an experiment of this scale. To that end, they organized a top-secret team to assist them with their research. All in all, they gathered 10 people or so. Those 10 completed their team and they were able to begin the product. They named it the Nonary Project. The purpose of the experiment was to research the prospect of controlling the human mind through sheer will. The vessel, I suppose you could say, for the one controlling me was the morphogenetic field. Why did the glycerin suddenly begin to crystallize? Why did the crystal structure of EDT undergo a sudden change? Why did the rats improve their puzzle-solving skills with each generation? Experiments with humans produce the same results. The more people who knew the answer to a question, the more people there were who could answer correctly without having seen the problem before. Why? How? The answer is that the shape of the answer has been stored in a field invisible to the naked eye. And through that field, the resonant event transmits information related to that answer. That's essentially the idea behind morphogenetic fields. But that's just a theory. Can't bring yourself to believe it. Not really. Let's say someone killed another person because the devil told them to do it. Whether the devil exists or not has no relevance to the murder. They believe the devil exists. Whether or not he does is immaterial. So what matters here is that Hungao believed in the morphogenetic field. Snake nodded. But I still don't get it. You said they wanted to figure out how to control people. Right? This is what you were saying? Yes. So how are they going to do that with a morphogenetic field? I'll keep it simple. Suppose 10,000 people have solved a certain problem. The chance of you knowing that answer, even if no one has told you, will go up. Let's have another example, shall we? Say 1 million people were to do a handstand right now. Tomorrow the chances of you doing a handstand will be higher, even if you had heard nothing of this hypothetical mass handstanding. Mankind's thought process and actions are all part of a resonant event. All the resonant events encoded in the fields are projected onto you. Of course, this assumes you believe in this theory. Do you follow so far? Yeah? Well, let's say, hypothetically, there was a person who had the same effect as those millions of people. What would happen? If that one person were to do a handstand, other people would find themselves wanting to do handstands as well. Can you imagine what a person with powers like that would be able to do? Come on, there's no way. I'm not alone. Imagine. Wait, you say another? No, not sorry. I'm not done. Okay, thank you. Imagine another scenario. Imagine another person. This is an ordinary person. Let's say he does a handstand. What if there was someone who could grab the resonant event he created by doing that and use it to make other people do handstands? What would happen then? A person who has the power to write to the field and someone who can read from the same. You could think of them as the writer and the reader, or the transmitter and the receiver. What would the world be like if there were people with abilities like these? Junpei thought about it for a moment. The transmitter's resonant event can be transmitted through the field and sent to the receiver. And then the transmitter can control the receiver however they wish. That's what you're saying, right? Yes, close enough at least. Come on, that's just crazy. Well, if you want to prove that, then you'll have to test it first. At least, that was how they thought. That was why they decided to do their experiment. That was how the nunnery project began. Snake suddenly looked very serious. Junpei, have you ever heard of the Gansfield Experiment? Junpei nodded. Yeah, that was an experiment in telepathy, right? They put a pair of subjects in separate rooms. Then they'd show one of them a picture and ask the other one what they saw. Interesting. I'm impressed. Yes, that is exactly correct. So why'd you bring up the Gansfield Experiment? It was used to screen subjects for the nunnery project. The hospital in a remote town was affiliated with Cradle Pharmaceutical. Hungao used it to conduct experiments on visiting children in secret. Some of them he found had potential. He began to gather children that showed promise, children that seemed as though they might be able to access the field. Of course, none of them volunteered. They were kidnapped. His face barely moved as he spoke. There were 9 pairs of siblings taken for 18 children total. For reasons that were not fully understood at the time, each pair had 1 transmitter and 1 receiver. They were split perfectly. As such, the 18 children were split into 2 groups of 9. The children who were put in group 0 were the ones who excelled at transmitting. They were transferred to the mock experiment building known as Building Q in the Nevada desert. The children who excelled at receiving were put in Group A. Members of Group A were placed on the former hospital ship Gigantic. From the experiments he had conducted so far, Hungao had learned the following. There are 2 things that can increase one's resonance with the fields. The first is epiphany. The other is danger. Have you ever been faced with an emotionally difficult problem and thought about it very long and very hard until finally an answer suddenly appeared in your mind? It may seem obvious to say go, but that is not what is meant by epiphany. The information obtained through that epiphany can be easily transmitted through the fields, where it can be easily intercepted. What? Adding danger to that equation allows for even easier field access. So we need a firewall on the field? Therefore, Hungao set up a number of puzzles across the Gigantic. Participants had to solve each puzzle before they could move on to the next room. Of course, he hadn't forgotten to tackle danger. Oh, no, sorry. Can't read. Of course, he hadn't forgot to include danger. More specifically, he had destroyed a bomb. More specifically, he had detonated a bomb on the hull of the Gigantic. The children in Group A were forced to play the nunnery game as the ship sunk. By forcing the children into a life-or-death situation, Hungao hoped to increase the likelihood of their tapping into the fields. I swear I am alert. Somewhat. The children from Group Q, on the other hand, were confined to the mock experiment building. Building Q. Building Q duplicated the interior and the puzzles of the Gigantic easily. Hungao explained the situation to the children in Group Q. Solve the puzzles you find throughout the rooms. When you solve them, transmit that information to the children in Group A. If you succeed, they will be able to solve the puzzles and escape. But if you fail, then the Gigantic will sink, your brothers and sisters will drown. Do you know why the astronauts of Apollo 13 were able to return to Earth safely? It's because NASA had access to a replica of the Apollo 13 capsule. All the equipment, the instruments, everything, all of it identical. NASA was able to replicate the situation the astronauts were facing by putting themselves in the same situation. They attempted to solve the problems they knew the astronauts were experiencing. Once they had found solutions, they reported their findings to the man aboard the actual capsule. That was how they were able to return safely. It was the same with the Gigantic and Building Q. The children from Group Q had to use the power of epiphany to solve the puzzles they found and transmit what they learned through the fields. The children in Group A, however, had to access the fields to learn how they might advance to the next stage. That is the simplest explanation I can manage. Snake sounded defeated. His half-hearted attempt at derision served only to show how much the story had affected him. just as Junpei was about to speak.
Hey, Junpei, Snake, how much longer are you two going to sit around on those bony asses? Get down here already.
Seven's voice echoed up from below. Snake took a deep breath and blinked rapidly as if just waking up from a long nap. He's right. Let's go, shall we? We don't have much time. We need to get out of here and soon. Snake headed for the stairs, but Junpei put out an arm to stop him. Hold it. There's one more thing I want to ask you. Are you sure that there were 18 kids? Why? Well, I thought it was only 16. Oh, yes, that was what they said on the news, wasn't it? Yes, I have no doubt that 18 children were abducted and used in Hungao's experiment. After all, you couldn't exactly play a notary game with any less, could you? Well, yeah, but are you saying that the news got it wrong? Yes, I am. There were 2 more children. However, they had no relatives that I'm aware of. I imagine no one filed a police report when they went missing. They were brother and sister like Clover and I. The brother's name was Aoi. The sister's name was... Her name was... Snake couldn't seem to bring himself to continue. It looked as if what he was about to say brought him great pain. Her name was Akane. That was the girl who died. Junpei felt as if he had been punched in the stomach. His vision went blurry and his head felt light. He couldn't think straight. Everything was blank. Had Akane Kurashiki died 9 years ago? He only gave you a first name, and Akane is pretty common. Come on, man. If she had, then who was June? No, that was impossible. It couldn't be true. Akane wasn't an uncommon name. If Snake had known her last name, then that would have been a different matter entirely. So they shared a name. There were many other people who did as well. It meant nothing. It was a different person. Of course it was a different person. It had to be. Junpei shook his head hard and pulled himself back to reality. Is something wrong, Junpei? Your breathing sounds strange. Then Snake had noticed. Junpei cleared his throat and tried to act calm. Oh no, it's nothing. I'm fine. Let's get back down there, alright? Snake raised an eyebrow but said nothing. He headed down the stairs, Junpei bringing up the rear. He couldn't bring himself to ask. He told himself he knew the answer already, but he couldn't bring himself to ask what the girl's last name had been. With every step he took, the cold, hard sound of feet against metal dug at his heart. Also, I'm running low on space, so bear with me for one moment. Okay, and back. Just getting that. Sheldrake 5. Was that one of these? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sheldrake. This is it. This is what the shadow picture was pointing to. Didn't it say 5 at the end of the shadow picture? Yes, I think we need to find the 5th volume. Oh, would you look at that? There's a big red button behind this book. I guess we should press this button. Oh. What was that sound?
It sounded like something really big was moving.
It came from the top floor. All right, let's go check it out. All right. Looks like an output monitor. Bet the letters you type in on the keyboard will show up here. There's a keyboard in front of the numbers. There are 4 Roman numerals on the wall. It's got to be a hint of some sort. 13, 14, 10, and 13. Those are all Roman numerals. I think we just need to put in the numbers from the wall on the keyboard?
No, you can't. The keyboard doesn't have any number keys. You can't type in stuff like 3 or 4.
Then that means...
Are we in, like, hex again?
Alright. A, B, C, D, D, E. Dead! I bet you gotta type something on that keyboard. Yeah, but you can only enter letters. It looks like you only enter 4 letters. Let's see how it works. Guess you need to hit enter once you type in the letters. You can erase what you typed with clear. Okay, I get the basic operations. Let's give it a shot. Wow. It's always hex. Yay! You did it, Junpei. It's unlocked now. Good job, Junpei.
Whoa there, don't get too excited. The password was dead, remember? This makes me think whatever is waiting for us isn't good.
So what? Jeez, you're such an old lady. You can't be worrying about stuff like that. I mean, come on. We got it to unlock, didn't we? Let's go, hurry up. Alright, let's get this thing open. Is this the right door, or? I guess so. There's another door, or they both lead to the same place. Regardless, the door did in fact open. And I'm going to end things off here. Because I am very tired. Next time we find out what lies beyond the door. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time for some more Let's Play. 9 hours, 9 persons, 9 doors. 1 girl from the prior experiment with a name that's pretty familiar. Goodbye.